Welcome back to the BA Podcast. Your boy C-Roc here. We're at Las Colinas at the Ritz for the February edition of Board of Advisors. I'm here today with Marlon Mueller. He's a member of BA, a friend of mine. What's up, man?
Hey.
Good to see you.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we were supposed to be on yesterday, but we got kicked out of the room for a little while, and we made it happen. I'm glad we got to do this because one of the past two events, I don't remember if it was the one last or the one before that, we had an opportunity to sit next to each other and got to learn more about you. And so I'm excited to share, with the audience here what you're doing and what you're all about. So first of all, if you don't mind, kind of share what you're focused on right now on a daily basis and what's got you excited right now.
Well, one of the things that we're doing is we have a morning program that we call Winning the Morning. And we've been doing audio books and books like Think and Grow Rich, The Biology of Belief, just stuff that, motivational type of mindset kind of stuff. We did the book called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. That was published in 1910. We've been finding a lot of these earlier books, and they're really, really good. And so we did that a couple years ago. We did it a year ago. We just did it about a month. We started maybe a month ago.
What's like a book club? It's like a group of people? Or
we just Zoom. It's a morning.
Yeah, but it's a group of people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so anyway, we went through the book. It's a fairly quick book to go through. And we got done. I told my partner, I said, hey, I think we should do it again. Okay. So we did it again, got done the second time. And some of the other members were like, I think we should do it a third time. We just finished it this last Thursday.
For the first, third time. Okay.
Third time.
Yeah.
And one of them was like, I think we should do it again. I kind of would like to, but we're like, well, we'll do another one, but we'll come back to it.
Yeah.
But that book, somehow this time it just kind of took different grab on me. And it's changed so much of what I'm thinking about and even ministry, and I'll get into that. But so I've been just excited about it and telling people you need to read this book and understand it.
Well, I'm just looking at some of the things you talked about before, and these are all in the Bible.
Well, I've kind of come to the conclusion because the Bible, I'm in some groups. I do a lot with financial legacy planning, all that kind of stuff. Mostly because of my background with farming. I was fourth generation farmer. And, we got screwed by banks, you get screwed by the government, it's an up and down game. Yeah. And then we had some legacy issues. I'm one of those guys that I can say, yeah, I was third generation caught up into a 34-year estate issue. So those two things caused me to just I love studying that stuff now.
Yeah.
But mindset is really a great key thing. But, I always tell people the Bible talks about money almost about, it's like 700 different verses about money, currency, whatever else.
Wealth, yeah.
And mindset and everything else is in there too. It's really, and so I said, my two favorite books right now is the Bible and The Science of Getting Rich.
Yeah. No, so when you read this, did you really have things that popped out at you that you really never thought about or heard before?
Well, some.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the first time. It's kind of like the Bible, when you read a verse and then you're at a different perspective or you got a different challenge, you read that same verse, you're like, that means something different. And I think that's kind of how it has been with this book. But it wasn't like, it was like those aha, like I didn't know that because, but the thing that grabbed me was, this was written and published in 1910. I always thought Think and Grow Rich in the 30s. Man, how come I didn't know about that? It was quick. It wasn't new,
Right.
He was just writing what he probably learned from Wallace Wattles.
Yeah, and or the people that he was interviewing, they learned from Wattles.
Obviously,
because he was around a lot of mentors. Napoleon Hill.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I was telling you the other day, I just finished reading Think and Grow Rich again, and it's the same thing with any kind of book, but the Bible too. Depending on where I am in life and what's going on in my life now, I just pick up different things because I think it has to do with your intention. Whatever your intention is right now is what you pay attention to.
Right.
Right. And so there's some things that are in this room right now. We could be sitting here there's billions of things to pay attention to.
Right.
But really, my intention is to have a great interview with you. So I'm paying attention to you, not Carl sitting over there, right? So,
hi, Carl.
but so I think that has a lot to do with it. So what are the favorite things about the Science of Getting Rich?
Yeah.
Really
So I think the key word is science. That there's actually a quote here I have, and from Wallace, he said, "There is a science of getting rich, and it is an exact science, just like math, and that there is a certain laws which govern the process of acquiring riches, and once these laws are learned and obeyed by anyone, that person will get rich with mathematical certainty." And really, when you think about that, the steps that you take, if you take those steps, and he always says in a certain way, you pretty much cannot fail.
Now, what is a subjective thing is, what is the definition of rich?
Well, some people say, well, I have a lot of money, or that's a lot of money. My question is, what is that number?
Yeah.
Because for some people, $10,000 is a lot of money. For others, that's just nothing,
Yeah.
And so it's your perspective. But I don't, a lot of people always think it's all about money to be wealthy. And I said, no, wealth is more than just money. It's your family. I actually have 4 F's. They're faith, family, fitness, and finances. Finances actually last.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have your faith, you don't have the right perspective. You don't have your family. So many people work and then they destroy their family trying to get wealthy. Well, what's the point of it?
Yeah.
And if you don't have your health, fitness, then you're going to spend all your money trying to get healthy. So you need those 3, and then the finances.
Yeah, 100%. And another thing is, so we talked about the mind, and there's another one on here about being creative. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Well, let me go back to the mind real quick. So what's interesting about the mind, so I belong to this one group, and they teach about finances, biblical finances and stuff. But the key thing is the thinking. Like so many people really don't think, or they don't go through the thought process. I mean, there's a thought process that you have to kind of go through. It's a mindset. I call it a mindset too. If for some, it's hard to think that they'll ever be rich. And I remember I used to always say I'm a millionaire.
Yeah.
I wasn't even close. But I was believing that. It was just something I wanted to acquire. To have that ability to just be financially free, kind of thing. And I remember one time somebody said, well, if you want to do that and have that mindset, carry some money around. I didn't have any money. So then it's like, oh, that makes sense. So I got a bunch of quarters. I put them in my pocket and I would jingle them.
Yeah.
That it would trigger in my mind and my mindset that, hey, I had money. I'm wealthy.
Yeah.
So mindset is really the foundation, because you can have all the ideas of understanding money and stuff. But if you don't have the mindset of being, some people, it's hard to even, do they have the right to be rich?
Yeah.
They don't even think about that. They're like, I'm always going to be poor. Or they'll say stupid stuff like, I don't have any money to make money, or if I do have money, it just burns through my pockets. I mean, that's their talk. That's their mindset.
Yeah.
So without that foundation and have the right mindset, I had a mentor who told me, he said, I used to say this, money comes from all directions. I don't understand it. I just accept it. And you know how many times money would pop up and show up that I wasn't expecting? And it's like, oh, I needed that.
Yep.
So mindset's the foundation.
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how many times it's happened to me. I mean, I just know that I'm always taken care of. I say that all the time. And also everything always works out for me.
Absolutely.
Everything. I mean, I don't need to be billion, million, whatever. I just know wherever I am, I'm taken care of, and everything always works out.
Right.
And so that's the way. But I will tell you this, I've wrote down specific numbers in revenue for a company, or how much I have, or what I've given away. And I wrote it down beyond what I could think at that time. And I'm like, wow, am I doing this? Like, really? And it hit it. And I'm like, wow,
Absolutely.
dude, why did I write so little down?
Right.
So yeah, 100%. The mind is power. Now let's go back to the create, don't compete.
Right. That was almost a new thought, because when you think about it, most businesses are trying to compete for customers. And the thing is they said that, when you compete, you're looking at, like, there's only so many resources.
Mm-hmm.
But creation is taking those so many resources, how do you make it even better? And you think about it like taxis. Mm-hmm. I can go out and buy taxis and start a taxi business and compete against other taxis. But what happened? Well, then you have Uber.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody came up with the same kind of concept, only changed it and made it better. That's creativity. That's not competition.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, wow, that is cool. Because competition, when you think about it, really has a mindset of scarcity.
Mm-hmm.
There's only so many customers, or there's only so much, or somebody's trying to buy a piece of property or whatever. There's this deal. It's the last best deal out there. Well, I know, both know that there's always another deal out there that's probably going to be better.
Yeah.
But that's the scarcity mindset, the competitive, like, this is it.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I mean, I go through that sometimes too, where I'm just like, where's the next deal coming in? And then I think about how many people there are on the planet. Mm-hmm. How many of those people could use what I do? Mm-hmm. And the problem then becomes, it's not enough people. It's not that it's not enough people. It's not enough people know who I am.
Right.
So now I have to figure out a way to get attention, and creativity, to do that. So love that. So that one's a new one that came out. Mm-hmm. Not to mention, it's not in here. It's another C, is collaboration. Right. Like I've had a lot of success collaborating with others.
Absolutely.
And not competing with each other.
That's part of the creativity.
Yeah. Creative ways to figure out how to collaborate. Right. Yeah. Okay. And then gratitude is a multiplier. Right. What did you know about gratitude before you read the book? And what concept did you understand? And
I was always
compared to this.
Yeah. I mean, I've been around this kind of stuff for years. And so for me, gratitude, even though I may not be where I was grateful for where I was. Because all you have to do is think about others that aren't even where I was, or other countries or whatever else. I mean, we are so blessed. Even the poorest poor here that live in apartments, have air conditioning or anything else. And you think about people in Africa or India and stuff like that. So, it's a perspective. Yeah. And so for me, I was always grateful for what I have, always grateful. And when you are, it's like a multiplier, because it's like a focus. For a lot of people, here's an example, like checkbooks. Yeah. Checkbooks almost empty. People focus on that and they're like, God, why am I here? Why do I not have any money? And that they're focusing on the negative. What does that produce? More negative. Absolutely. Yeah. But if you're like, I'm grateful for what I have.
At least I have this paper here, this checkbook that's made of paper. I can stay warm if I need to light it on fire.
Well, I look at it as my checkbook gets to zero, or some of my different LLCs, whatever else. It's like, I'm just like, okay, where's the money? Yeah. I don't focus on that empty checkbook. I focus on where's the money coming in, and focus on that. And I'm grateful that more money is coming in, because we live in a physical world. We see, smell, touch, feel, all that stuff. But there's also the unseen realm. Mm-hmm. It's out there. Yeah. All the money is out there. Like our church, we're looking at this building, and I keep telling the people in there, the money's there. We just have to find it. Mm-hmm. We have to figure out, but we have to push forward. We can't just pray. We have to take action. Yeah. And I've been doing different things, telling them to do different things, going to the city and stuff. I've got a grant guy. I said, well, look at grants. But, it's moving forward, taking action, being grateful for where we are, even though the building's too small. We're paying way too much for that square footage. We're just grateful for the building, but we're moving forward. Yep. Yeah. You can't say it better. I mean, one thing I always do is, like, in the morning time, especially when I wake up, I'm like, thank God I woke up. Thank you for the opportunity to lead today. I thank God for things before I have them, even absolutely for the provision and the plans that are coming in I don't even know about, that I'm not even aware of. Right. And it's definitely made a big difference in my life, man. Right. Act in a certain way. What does that mean? So in the book, he talks about that you have to do and act in a certain way. And I'm like, certain ways. Actually, the first time I read through the book and I get done, it's like, well, what do you mean by certain way? But it's really, that's where I came to, the idea was like, for me, like wanting to be a millionaire or something like that, or, wanting a certain, like maybe my farmstead. I had drawn this picture of how I wanted to redesign the barns and everything else. I did that several years ago. It's in my head for a long time, and then I just couldn't find it. And then I redid the barns and stuff, the buildings, and then I found that paper. I looked at the paper, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's exactly how those buildings look. I mean, the overhead doors, where I put them, and everything else. Yeah. And that's really what I think is going on. Is you have to just get that thought. Get the thoughts that you want, and then start the actions and do them in a certain way. And really part of that certain way is being efficient too. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times people will say, oh, I want this. Is that a dream or is that a goal? The goal, then you start putting actions to it. And that's the efficiency, doing things in a certain way. So you're not, what are you doing today that's going to move you forward to get to your goal?
Yep.
And doing it certain ways. So you have your mindset, your thoughts, you create that creative actions, thoughts, and everything else. So you're grateful for it, and then you start moving forward in that certain way.
Yeah. I'll add 2 things. So I found out that it was your thoughts and then how you speak, because if you don't speak the right way, it's going to counteract everything.
Absolutely.
Then it's your actions, and then just as important, your environment that you keep.
Oh my!
The people around you.
That's even
so
bigger.
Why this is a prayer I do every day is, Lord, give me the thoughts to have, the words to speak, the actions to take, and the people to surround myself with to serve the mission you have for me and glorify you.
Absolutely.
And that's the guidance I have. And then I trust it. And then I just roll with my day.
Right.
And but yeah, I love this stuff. All right, Marlon, I want to get to the point or the part where you went through this estate situation. Can you share some of that story? Yeah, because I want to know what you went through, and then obviously high level because of time, but and then what you learned from it.
So when I was a young kid, and my grandfather used to always talk about his brother-in-laws, and and then as I was getting older, he's still talking about it. I thought, wow, it happened in 1950. I'm a 1970s, teenager or young kid getting in teens, and I'm thinking, why doesn't he just forgive him? Get over it, move on. Had no idea he's still dealing with it, Yeah. Nobody really said, oh yeah, this is what's going on, until I was in my 20s. And then what happened is his brother died. He didn't have any family, and so his sister was the one that ended up suing us, and because she thought she had more kids and he was going to give it all to nieces and nephews, and she'd end up most of that shares.
Right.
So what I learned from that is, one, I don't like wills.
Yeah.
Because will is a piece of paper can get challenged all day long.
Yeah.
And so that's what I started going to estate planning meetings in my 20s, and everybody else is in their 60s. And these guys would always say, well, yeah, you're the guy that should be here, learning this stuff. But they were still really teaching about wills and that kind of thing. And I'm like, I don't want wills. And so it's a long story, but eventually I came to the understanding what I needed. And then it was finding the right guy. We were fortunate to find somebody that was like well known throughout the country as the guy to go to. And he actually had an office and that he would visit in our area. And so I hooked up my parents, and we created a trust so that when they died, I didn't have to do anything. Actually, all I did was I went in, my dad died, nothing. My mom died. I went into the bank, signed the signature card on the bank accounts, kept the operation going, didn't do anything else.
Right. Yeah, because you're setting up a beneficiary, and it's cleared, it's already set up. Like it's actually already happening before something happens to the people.
Well, the trust doesn't die.
Right. It's an organism.
Yeah. And so so that was just a cool deal. And then of course, with the finances, the banks are the ones, they wanted our land because land values had dropped so much. And I knew something was fishy because their notes was less than the year before. and they wouldn't explain it. And I went to counsel, some older businessmen that I knew, told them the situation. They're like, nah, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't mortgage your lands. But that was when I came to the realization, it's like, I need to know how money works. We're getting screwed if we don't. And so today I do a lot of my banking through life insurance policies.
Yeah. I'm familiar with that.
Yeah.
And so overfund them. Yeah. And then use the money, and then you can pay it back, but you use the money tax-free.
You're right.
Yeah.
And actually I have dollars working 3 to 4 times, same dollars.
Yep.
There's ways to doing that. And so, it's just things I've learned. So when I teach people, we have what we call Your Wealth Resource. It's just a small group that we just kind of teach people. And, but it's basically, we have the resources. Like I know the right lawyers to go to, accountants, tax director. Of course, being BA, we get lots of good, 2 things. We get a lot of good people that you can go to do all that kind of stuff. But then also, like I said, I like private investing. And so, we get a lot of good deals through that, syndicators, all that kind of stuff. So that's part of what we offer. So
okay, I love it. So where can people go deeper with you and learn more about that stuff?
They can go to marlonmueller.com.
There you go. That's easy.
marlonmueller.com. Yeah, I had a friend, or I had a guy I co-authored in 3 books, and one of the first ones is like create a website, that you can always use that for everything. Yeah. And so I just did the marlonmueller.com.
Perfect. Yeah. I don't even have C-Roc.com. Oh yeah, I do. I don't have Mike Ciorrocco. I don't have my full name.
Oh, yeah.
I just C-Roc.com. Yeah, I did that because you can always change the website and landing page and add. Yeah. MarlonMueller.com, folks. Go check him out. Marlon, thank you so much for your time today. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's this episode of the BA Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on the YouTube channel, Board of Advisors, and on your favorite podcast platform. And keep coming back. C-Roc signing off for now.